Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And I mean, we are having lots of opportunities to just practice going back to Him and giving everything to Him over and over and over again. And it seems like we're on repeat. It's like rinse, repeat, right? Wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, right? Problem, pray, peace. Problem, pray, peace. That's hard to say. You try to say that 3 times fast. Anyway, but it's like that. Just put that repeat button on. Every time something comes up, pray, give it to Him, then trust Him and rest in that peace, right? That's a easy process to talk about, but it's not always that easy to just do because we got all these emotions in it, right? All right, so yesterday I think it was, we talked a little bit about prayer. Maybe we've mentioned prayer 2 or 3 times this week because that's been on my heart a lot lately. And so I actually ended up, for the class last night. Last night was the last class for the Bible study class for this year. And now I'm planning for next year. So get your notebooks and Bible translations and pens all fired up and ready for next year. I'm going to get all ready and have a little better plan for next year because I just kind of went by what, hey, let's just do this. So this next year will be a little more, a little better planned, right? Anyway, but I've been thinking about prayer a lot. I've mentioned prayer here, and I ended up talking about prayer last night, and we talked about it in class because it's in 1 John 5, talks about prayer. And I discovered something, and I love it when I discover something because it gives me something new to really just think about and explore and meditate on and let it just soak into my spirit, right? So the first thing I thought about is how, and we said this yesterday, prayer is a conversation. It's not just giving God a to-do list for the day, for the week, for your life, right? It's not just giving God a to-do list. It's not just a long list of requests. Please do this, please do that, please do something else. Although we are to bring our requests to God with thanksgiving, right? We've been talking about that this week. And so I thought about it. And as we mature as believers, our prayer life should change, right? And think about it in a let me give you a natural analogy. When a baby is born, they communicate. All they do is cry because they need something. And then you got to play guess and check because you don't know. Are they wet? Are they hungry? Are they uncomfortable? Are they cold? Are they hot? Do they need to move around? Does something poking them? But then you have to play guess and check because they can't say my foot hurts or my fingernail hurts or I'm hungry or I need to be changed, right? They can't tell you. All they do is cry. Isn't that kind of the same when we first get saved? We may not really know even what we need, and maybe we can't even express it because we don't have that practice just talking to God, who we don't hear immediately sometimes, right? Which makes it just complicated for our human brains. And then as they get to toddler stages, then they can ask, and that's all they do is ask. I need this, I need that, I want ice cream, I want to go outside, I want to go inside, I don't want to go outside, I want to go inside, I want this, I want a jacket, I'll take my jacket, right? And they just talk, but it's still all about them. Most of their communication is about them. Then as they grow into teens, that communication changes. You can have good conversations with a teenager, and thoughtful conversations and throw out a few debate questions and get them to thinking and see what's going on in their brain and throw it back and forth a little bit. And then they become adults. We become adults. And then we think we know what we want in our 20s and 30s. And then in our 40s and 50s, we realize we didn't. And then in our 60s, we go, it's just all lost, right? But our communication abilities and levels change, right? And as you get in a little bit older, you start looking back, wanting to communicate with younger people, going, I want to leave you something that you can use when I'm gone because I'm on my way out and you're on your way up, right? So our communication changes. And so in light of that, I thought, well, how did Jesus' prayer life match that? I mean, when he was born, he was a baby and all he did was cry too when he needed something, right? He went through those processes as a person. And so I thought, I'm going to John chapter 17 to see how Jesus communicated with the Father in prayer, because John 17 is just a prayer. And I found some interesting things. First off, there was no begging. There was no crying. There wasn't even anything he asked for himself other than he said, glorify me so that I can glorify you. It was all about, his whole prayer was about everybody else. Now, Jesus knew he was about to go to the cross. He knew he was about to finish the assignment that God gave him to come and die for mankind. He knew what was coming. He's about to go to Gethsemane, and then he's going to the cross, and he knew that. And his prayer wasn't, help me do this, help me do that, or whatever else you would put in there. It was this whole prayer, none of it was for himself. Do you know who he prayed for, though? He prayed for his disciples. He said in verse 9, he says, I'm praying for the disciples, not the world. I'm not praying for those that don't believe. I'm praying for these disciples, because he knew they were going to go through literal hell in the next few days, in the next week or so. They were going to see him crucified and see their hopes completely destroyed. Any hope of redemption. They thought Jesus was going to set up a physical kingdom, and so they didn't understand. And so their misunderstanding is going to lead them into the depths of despair, because what they had invested the last 3 years of their lives into is gone when Jesus is crucified. They were confused. They were probably angry. They had so many things to sort out. And here Jesus is saying, I'm praying for the disciples and not for the world. And then in verse 11, he says this, and feel the compassion behind this. He said, keep them. That was his prayer for his disciples, was keep them. Protect them. Keep them, because they are about to go through living hell. And his prayer was for his disciples, not himself. How crazy is that? And then he says, keep them so that we can all be one. And then he said, he goes on down to verse 13. He says, keep them, and I'm praying these things so that you can make sure they keep their joy. They're fixing to go through hell, and he's praying that they'll have joy. Is that not amazing? An amazing part of the prayer. Then he says, I don't pray that you take them out of the world, but I pray that you keep them from the evil one who is in the world. What that is in the world. And so twice he's like, keep them while they're in this world. Then he says in verse 17, sanctify them. He's praying for his disciples, and he's fixing to go to the cross. He says, and then listen to this, he prayed for you too. Yeah, blows your mind, right? Verse 20, I pray for all of those who will believe through their testimony. So he says, no, I'm praying for my disciples, the 12 I've got right here, soon to be 11, right? Thank you, Judas. And he's like, I'm praying for them, but I'm also praying for all of those, because he could see that. He knew that. He could see that we would be here in 2025, almost 2026, as a result of the disciples keeping the faith, as a result of the disciples being kept by God through this very difficult time, and then continuing to spread the gospel, the good news of Christ, the good news of the cross. We had Paul come along. We had Peter stepped up, right? And they were going to write the what we call the epistles in the New Testament. We're going to see the Acts, how the church began to grow, right? And all of that, we're a result of that. But Jesus prayed for us, because he said, I'm praying for all who will believe in their message, that they may be one, so that the world might believe. He's praying for everybody but himself. Is that not crazy? Then in verse 34, he said again, and 24, let them be with me. Let them be one with me. Let us be one all together. His whole goal in his prayer was praying for others. He didn't pray anything for himself except glorify me so that I can glorify you. Give me the power to do what you called me to do. And that's to go to the cross. And he knew it very well what was about to happen, right? And I found this so amazing that it was more of a relational prayer. He had total peace in this moment. He had to have had total peace, because he was praying for everybody else. His concern wasn't for his own being. He wasn't trying to protect himself from dying or from pain. He wasn't trying to tap out. I'm going to tap out. This is looking bad. I'm tapping out. Take me home, Jesus. Take me home, God. Bring me home, right? Jesus is like, keep them, protect them, be with them, make us all one, and be with everybody that's going to come to, give everybody peace. It's going to come after too. It's going to read the story later and go, wow, how did they walk through that? Because they knew the one who was carrying them. They knew him. And even though they were so confused because they had their own kind of religious ideas about how Jesus was going to set up a kingdom, they thought they were all going to grab swords and go in and fight and actually put him on a natural throne. And they almost missed it. The Pharisees missed it, right? And they almost missed it. But then they began to understand later. And maybe part of it's because he prayed for them here. Keep them from this world. Keep them from the evil one. Keep them so that we can all be one. What a powerful prayer. And you know what? I am 99.9% rounded up to the nearest whole number. Sure, that would be 100 for on math people, right? I'm 100% sure that Jesus knew what was going to happen. He knew what was coming down the pike, and he knew that they misunderstood, but he knew that in the end they were going to understand, right? And so here he is praying for them, praying for us, and that's what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. I know that's hard to believe, but I'm 100% sure that Jesus is not going to pray something that can't happen. He's not going to pray something that doesn't match the Father's heart, because they are one, right? So he prayed for us so that we would believe, so that we would be kept. And he prayed that we would all be one. And he's not going to pray something that's impossible. He's not going to pray something that the Father is not going to do or honor. He's not going to pray something against the Father's heart. So anything Jesus prayed in this prayer is definitely 100% possible, waiting for us to align ourselves with the Word, to align ourselves with God the Father, Jesus the Son, the Holy Spirit, the breath of God, right? And he's waiting for us to get aligned, because he's not going to pray something that's in error. That's not even possible, right? That Jesus could pray something that was in error. So he's praying that we would all pray for us, that we would all be one with him, with the disciples, with God the Father. So it's got to be possible. It's got to be possible. He had us covered before he went to the cross. He prayed for you before he went to the cross. There's an old song that says, when he was on the cross, I was on his mind. That song blows my mind anyway, because I'm like, how would Jesus have thought of that? But I look at this prayer and go, you know what? He was praying for us, that we would be one, that we would understand, that we would believe, that we could look at the account and go, yeah, it really did happen. I trust God. I trust the cross, so I can peace out. I don't need anything else. So my relationship with God changes as I trust him more and more, as I run back and push that peace button and let it reign in my heart over and over. My relationship changes. My prayer life even changes, because it becomes more relational rather than just what can I get like a baby. That I'm like, God, you're so amazing. Show me new things out of your word. Help me face it. Give me that wisdom. Yes, you're going to ask for stuff. We're going to ask with thanksgiving, but it's more relational than it is trying to just get something. Right? Did anything I say make sense? I hope so. I know that Jesus prayed for us before he went to the cross. And that's why today I can peace totally out. Peace out and have a great weekend. I'll see you guys bright and early Monday morning.